Star Ocean the Second Story R had a lot of heads turning. It's gotten rave review scores, and while that doesn't mean everything, it's pretty impressive that its rating is high or higher than the AAA titles being released around the same time. It's pretty crazy. Physical copies have been nearly impossible to get your hands on at local stores. jrpg Twitter and YouTube will not shut up about this game, and people even outside of this relatively niche sphere have been ranting and raving about it. Not to mention, we have the remake for Super Mario RPG, and it's getting just as much love for respecting the original while refreshing it and making it approachable for newer audiences. These games are amazing, and I need to thank Square Enix for providing us with a copy specifically for Star Ocean the Second Story R. But today, we're not only going to be talking about Star Ocean or Mario RPG, we're going to be talking about all classic JRPGs and the remakes they have yet to receive, as I believe that these two games may have influenced the future of all of them. I'm Solace, this is Solace and Dread. We produce analytical content as well as reaction videos primarily focused around Square Enix, Nintendo, and Capcom publications. Go give us a follow over on Twitter for a chance to win a copy of the PlayStation 4 version of Star Ocean the Second Story R. First, we need to talk about how Star Ocean, specifically, affected the rest of its series. Star Ocean the Second Story R is the third iteration of this game, the first of which being on PlayStation 1 and then a remaster on PSP, adding a new playable character, voice acting, and a bunch of quality of life improvements. But 2R is the perfect mixture of remake and remaster, taking the time to overhaul the intricate systems of battle, skill points, and item creation, and it took lessons from a few of the other titles as well, such as Blindsides from Star Ocean 4 and 6, as well as some of the item creation aspects of Integrity and Faithlessness. The question is, would they take a similar approach for Star Ocean 7, seeing the recent success of Star Ocean 2R, Octopath Traveler, and Sea of Stars? Does the retro aesthetic appeal enough to maybe change the direction of the series? It's a question worth asking, and so I did. I recently put out a poll asking how people would feel if Tri-Ace made Star Ocean 7 in the style of 2R, and I have to say the results kind of shocked me. Specifically, I asked on Reddit, and 56% of voters said that they were in favor of a retro style for the future of the series. Now, the retro style is a bit of a niche, and this could potentially limit the game's reach, so they have to consider things carefully. Also, I think there was some nuance in the answer. If they weren't able to get a AAA budget, then maybe they should stick to a retro style if it makes the games quote-unquote easier to produce at a higher quality level, since there aren't things like 3D modeling and a lot of other things to consider when making a bigger budget game. That said, I think mixing it up a little bit couldn't really hurt, considering the mixed reception for Integrity and Faithlessness and the Divine Force, which is Star Ocean 5 and 6, respectively. And honestly, I'm a big fan of when developers take things in a different direction with existing IPs, whether it be just in art styles or even the gameplay, since experimenting can lead to really fun game experiences, like Star Ocean 6 did with the Duma and vaulting system, or like Zelda entering the Dynasty Warriors sphere, or like Final Fantasy entering the Arena Fighters sphere with Dissidia, NT, and Duodecim. You could take a game like Metroid Prime, for example, where it still retains all of the original charm, but it completely changed how you play the game. I'm not a fan of the IPs being produced the exact same way every single time. If they decide to take this in a different direction for art, finding success in the retro-inspired game style, then I'm all for it. And speaking of existing IPs going in a different direction, we have to thank the sponsor of today's video by helping celebrate the launch of Persona 5 Tactica. Ignite your heart, an emotional uprising begins. After a strange incident, the Phantom Thieves wander into a bizarre realm where its citizens are living under tyrannical oppression. Surrounded by a military group named the Legionnaires, they find themselves in grave danger, until a mysterious revolutionary named Arena rescues them and offers an enticing deal in exchange for their help. What truth lies behind Arena and the deal she offers to the Phantom Thieves? Persona 5 Tactica features an all-new story, the return of fan-favorite characters, and brand new allies and foes. Join the group as they lead an emotional revolution in this thrilling combat adventure. Lead an uprising of the heart in a brand new storyline that takes place in Persona's iconic universe. Build your dream squad. Assemble a team of beloved heroes to fight oppressive armies in thrilling turn-based combat. Overthrow your enemies with powerful personas, an assortment of weapons, and wipe them out with style. Persona 5 Tactica is available today, November 17th, on all modern platforms. That includes Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Series X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Steam. Now let's talk about the JRPG landscape overall. Remakes and remasters for retro JRPGs can land all over the place. Chrono Trigger had a rocky launch. Live Alive was given rave reviews. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories was not. Final Fantasy VII Remake was literally not a remake. Final Fantasy IX has some hot debate around what fans want from it. And that brings us to how the success of Star Ocean 2R and probably Mario RPG can be a guiding light. As I said in our full review, which link is up there somewhere, Star Ocean the Second Story R is the best example I've ever seen of adding new elements to a game while retaining the charm of the original. That attention to detail in this game is what makes it shine so brightly. This is the kind of remake that fans are screaming for, and they're showing Square Enix with their wallets, which is a language they most certainly understand. My assumption is that other developer teams are gonna take note and use Star Ocean as the best way to go about doing a remake for JRPGs. Super Mario RPG, which is released the same day that this video goes live, seems to be going the exact same route, where it's honoring the original style while pouring a ton of quality of life updates and overhauling some battle systems. And its reception is overwhelmingly favorable. Now, if we take Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories as an antithesis, it paid homage to a lot of what the original game was, but it didn't improve on the worst parts of the game, at least not enough to make it palatable. Then there's Final Fantasy VII Remake, and while it does have, in my opinion, one of the best action RPG combat systems of all time, it was a very, very different experience from its predecessor, leaving a considerable portion of the player base feeling kind of abandoned. And also, it wasn't a remake. Linking everything together, if you look at what Star Ocean and Super Mario RPG have done in the remake space, and you see just how happy the fans were and how they answered with their wallets, it's my assumption that this perfect blend of nostalgia and new elements is exactly what other JRPG remakes will try to capture in the future, at least the ones that aren't already in development. I really think, I genuinely feel this, that these games will completely shape and change other remakes of JRPGs, classic JRPGs, forever. Players are still hopeful for remakes of Chrono Trigger, Breath of Fire, Final Fantasy IX, Xenogears, Legend of Dragoon, and a ton of other games that came out during the golden era of JRPGs. And now that we have seen just what kind of polish can be done with remakes, looking at Star Ocean 2 and Mario RPG, we think we know what we want. These games are likely the future of remakes, and it is a bright one. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon, and long live the Turtle Kingdom.